wonderful mathematicians.
Good morning.
I want you to think back to last week when Deb had us get into a birthday line. And remember, she didn't allow us to use verbal cues, but we used some nonverbal ones. But today I'd like you to do the same thing, except you can't use verbal cues. And it's really difficult not to use nonverbal cues, but I don't want you using any motions or anything with your hands or expressions on your face. I just want you to remember spatially where you were in the room, who you were next to, and let's see if we remember each other's birthdays, because I'm sure, Steve, you want Mike to remember your birthday, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's just get in line and see how we'll remember it. I'll get in line too, because I was also part of that.
This is
And January was over here, so let's start.
I was not in class.
Okay. then you're excluded. It's okay.
Sit down in your chair.
It's okay. You can guess where you are based on January to December.
Didn't you do this before this class? Yeah, I'm behind you, right?
So he has more of an
Steve.
excuse, but Jerry, January 27th, February 6th,
February 7th, February 10th,
February 15th, March 1st, April 3rd.
April 19th,
April 21st, April 22nd,
May 9th.
May 9th,
May 21st.
May 21st.
June 7th, June 15th, July 3rd,
July 13th.
August 19th, October 11th.
August 31st.
September 15th.
October 2nd, October 3rd.
October 26th.
October 28th. November 6th.
November 14th.
All right, nice job. You can all sit down. That was really good. We all remembered our birthdays.
You said she wouldn't end it too, so this is gonna talk till the end of it.
And that was interesting. Did you notice that we have two pairs of people who share the same birthday? Yeah, that's interesting. So today, we are going to start a new unit, and we're going to look at a passage. Okay, so before we read this passage, I want you to just look at the titles, look at the illustrations, the graphs, try to predict before reading it what it's going to be about. And you can look at the paragraph as well, maybe for if it looks like it's a descriptive paragraph, or if it's one that will have you answer a question, you can do that, but I don't want you to read the exact words of the paragraph. So feel free to read the heading, and then look at these illustrations. I want to go back up here one more time to the paragraph. Okay, now what I want you to do is write a little math memo to yourself that later we can put in our learning log. So I want you to write down and just predict what this passage is about. What will you be doing? What's going on in here? And then I also want you to discuss within your groups. Okay, so bounce ideas off each other. This is just before reading. There's no good or bad predictions. We haven't really seen it yet, so. I'll walk around and hear your ideas. And this time you can use verbal communication.
okay, I started and the group will sit with that.
See your name.
Yeah. I was wondering if you have some I don't know what the paradox you keep bringing in
Come on, do the
When I teach it. Okay. It's a possibility.
That's my favorite. Have you ever seen it before?
Okay, now that everyone's had a chance to share their predictions, I hope you wrote it down as well. What I want you to do is now read the paragraph and keep in mind what you thought it was about. Maybe you had it correct, or maybe there was something a little bit different, okay? So read this silently to yourself. If anyone can't see it, feel free to come up closer. Okay, after you've had a chance to read the passage, I want you to write down another math memo, just jot down an idea of how your prediction compared, and maybe something that you learned from the passage, or learn what it's about or what it wants you to do. And then discuss those ideas within your group.
That's really
What else?
We said we were just
That's so
Okay, can I direct your attention back up here again? So what we just did is we went through the directed reading thinking activity, where it's a pre, during, and post reading strategy, where you look at a piece of artwork or a piece of music or some type of math shapes the text beforehand and just predict what's going on, what's going to happen, things like that. And then during the passage, when you read it silently, keep those predictions in mind, as we did. And then post-reading strategy, realize what you thought of and what actually you maybe learned within the passage. Okay, so since we did that one just within groups, we're going to repeat the cycle, because you can do that with the DRTA. You can just go on to the next passage or next activity. And we're going to do this within a group. So first of all, let's make some predictions. We want to know how many students would we need to have in the class to make it 50% likely that two people would share a birthday. But let's think of 100%. That's usually a better starting point. So discuss in your groups, or this one we'll do, just someone can raise their hand for this one. How many people do you think you need for 100%? 300. What did you think, Carly? Ross?
I'm gonna guess like 30 people.
For 100%?
Sure.
Probability? Okay. So this means no matter what, if you have 30 people in a room, there's 100% probability that two people are going to share the same birthday. Claire?
I don't know what number we need.
Okay, you disagree?
I don't think that.
Okay.
366.
You're at 66, okay.
Are you asking for everybody to have, like, this? I guess I don't know.
Okay. So if there were a certain amount of people in the room, how many people would you need to have
just have
You
one
just
set.
have, right, correct, one set of two people that someone will share a birthday, not a specific person. That's a whole different math concept. It's just,
I'm gonna second 366.
okay. Now, how many days in a year are you counting for this one?
Regular year.
So you want to say that louder?
What about a leap year? It'd be 367. Because then you'll have the 366 plus one.
Is everyone else think? Okay, so we'll go with the 367. Okay, well let's make some predictions for the 50% likelihood. Think half of that? So,
Round up to the next one.
alright. Did I do my math right? Any other guesses? Discuss with the person next to you what you think, and then write down your prediction. It's just a prediction.
It's my first guess, but that's a good It's broken up. I did broke it up.
It sounds cool. I mean, it's like,
Once in the morning.
So can you guys just get Vegas and just?
yeah, it's like,
Does
that say have one
I like it.
everyone have a number down? Okay, now that we've done the pre-reading strategy, made our predictions, I have another passage for you to read. Well, it looks like we got the 367, and I heard Brittany say something about the pigeonhole principle. We'll be learning more about this later this week and with probability. But does that just seem mind-boggling that you only need 23 people in a room to have a 50% probability, a 1 in 2 chance that 2 people share the same birthday?
I'll like to throw out that my prediction was closer than that.
1%.
You didn't guess
And actually, in our classroom, where we have around 30 people, it's actually a 70% chance probability that 2 people share the same birthday. Isn't that crazy? And we showed it with our birthday line. Okay. And I just wanted to, you can do this reading strategy with anything else. I just thought this would be a good unit to bring relevance to our classroom about birthdays, because maybe Pete really wants to consider this. Are we going to bring in 2 separate treats for these birthdays? And tomorrow, Deb said we're bringing in pies for the 8 pies, but it's actually to celebrate our birthdays. It's their birthday. Any questions on the reading strategy or probability, or any final comments? All right. See you tomorrow.